The Be Fit for Health radio show was previously recorded. The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Aloha and welcome to Be Fit for Health. This is Biyanka, your host. It's another great day for us to celebrate our health and wellness in this beautiful island that we live in. And I gotta tell you, it's another gorgeous day and it's never gets old. I am so thrilled to be on today because I get to bring on a really good friend of mine. We've known each other for decades. In fact, I believe I started my career back in 1990 and she was one of the Group X fitness teachers at the club called Gold's Gym when it was here in Hawaii back in the 90s. And she used to teach a class before mine. And I didn't realize that when I had moved to California, she was one of the trainers at a club that I was privileged to be a fitness manager for. And she came up to me with the local style, "Hey, sister." Where do I know you from? And I'm like, she goes, "You're from Hawaii?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then we realized that we've known each other way back when, and we've been following each other throughout our careers in different locations. And I got to tell you, she is an incredible trainer, incredible coach. I'm bringing her on today because I want to teach you guys something new about the fitness industry. It's not just going into a gym and learning how to do exercises, which is important, and proper execution of it. But it's an education that you take with you no matter where you go. And the human body is so complex, but it's so wonderfully simple that it takes someone like her as an expert to teach you how to keep your body balanced. Also, not only in the way of muscle activation, but also in the way of function. And doing specific exercises to enforce certain muscle groups is also important. This is all about education. And trainers just don't go and get a certification. They actually get an education on the human body so extensively to the point where we have spent countless dollars and countless hours in a classroom or some kind of a clinic to learn more and more about how we can get the body to a place of absolute health and wellness. So Melanie has been doing this for about 40 years now. She actually went to the University of Hawaii here in Hawaii and was a personal trainer and general manager of a spa fitness center in Punahou. Do you guys remember that? The spa fitness center in Punahou Street? It shut down not that long ago, but she actually managed that club for a while. And she also did what I did. She moved to California and she has been a trainer there for a while as well. She's got certifications with ACE. And she also went ahead and took the extensive course through Muscle Activation Technique, MAT, and she became a specialist with them. And she will tell you exactly what that is. I can give it to you in my layman's term, but she will break it down to you so well that you will understand why it's so valuable. I have also been a client of hers regarding that, and I got to tell you, it is one of the most profound experiences when it comes to realizing that all the exercises you can do in the world, but if that muscle isn't awake and doing what it's supposed to, you will not get any tonality or strength from that muscle. And it's imperative to make sure that those muscles are activated properly. So she has that under her belt. And let me tell you, that was a year-long course that she took. I remember because I was there when she started. And then I decided to move back to Hawaii. She's still in California, but she has actually decided to eventually, move to Hawaii. But in this process of her and my separation, she's been coming to Hawaii every few months and treating her clients here. She's building a business here. She's actually training and doing muscle activation technique on these clients as well. She's also, if it's not enough, she's a Pilates instructor. She is a stout Pilates trained philosophy client trainer for the past several years as well. I would say at least a decade that I know of. But I could be wrong and she'll correct me, and that's not a problem. But I want to bring her on before I talk any further and further. I can just go on and on about Melanie because she's one of my heroes because she's done so much and she's been such an incredible friend to me. Melanie, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Biyanka. Aloha.
Aloha. So I wanted them to know about it, a little bit about our history, because it's just such an amazing thing. I may have been your boss at one point, but you've always been my teacher. So it's been an incredible journey between us, and a friendship that has been decades long. And it's a privilege and an honor to have you on my show, because I get to now glorify you, but also educate the audience about what you do that's so special. And you're the only one here in Hawaii that does it, by the way, when you're here.
Yes, I know that there is an MAT specialist on Maui. He's a great surfer dude as well. I'm plugging it in for him from Washington State, but I think he comes to Maui for the surf, and whenever he has time, he does have clients there in Maui. We were trying to hook up at one point, but then it didn't make it. But then I am the only practicing one in Honolulu.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I know that you've been a trainer for a very long time, and I know you've gone through all the different changes that in this industry that we've gone through. I mean, I've seen it all. You've seen it all. We were there when it was bodybuilding, go heavy, go home, to, maybe a little bit more on specific boutique type skill sets. And then we got into different types of other rehab type training, because I know moving to California was the best thing I ever did, because the trainers in California are the best, and they are competitive like no end. So their education, I mean, these guys have PhDs and they've learned the human body so well. And luckily for you and luckily for me, we were there, and you're still there learning more about your craft. So tell me a little bit about your background and what you knew for your clients. I mean, because you have so many things to pick from, yeah? You're not just a trainer, you're a Pilates instructor, you're now a specialist with MAT.
Right. And yeah, just thank you. I think you covered a lot of what I did and how I started. But the amazing thing is in LA, it's so competitive with personal training. How am I going to front my name in front of Trainer Bob or Trainer Sue or Mary? What will get me in the front to bring home clients? Because there's so many trainers out there, a dime a dozen, and they can basically do what mainstream people do, which is to train you, do 10 push-ups, do 10 sit-ups, 10 jumping jacks or whatever. But there's a lot of trainers out there who can push you to the limit, but not enough trainers to rebuild you in the event that you injure yourself through trauma, through a car accident, through a sports injury, or maybe just aging itself. And so with the MAT skills, and MAT stands for Muscle Activation Technique, with those skills, it gives me that edge with my client who may say, I have hip pain going on right now. I don't know what to do. And those who are not skilled in MAT, they would leave your hip pain alone and maybe have you do upper body that day.
Right.
No, I address it quickly. I go straight for it. And after I go ahead and do a treatment of MAT, then we'll go to the machines and reinforce what I have done in terms of exactly what MAT is, muscle activation. You activate the muscle that may be weakened. And many times people don't know that this happens.
Yeah.
People don't know that there's an inactivation. And maybe it may go on for a month, maybe even several months or even a year. And at that point, they are so weakened, and many muscles that are not supposed to take a job of a specific muscle will tend to compensate and take over that job. And then the body goes through a lot of imbalances. But it's not to say that it's not correctable. It really can be with the experience that I've had with MAT, and just the rewards and just the smiling faces that I see through my clients.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the fact that you've combined also Pilates with MAT, I mean, I don't know if people realize how imperative Pilates is, but Pilates works specifically with the connective tissue and the range of motion, and allowing the connective tissue is in everything, right? So it's all in the muscles, it's around the nerves. And when you're moving in a certain way, which is coherent to the way the body should move and helps keep the body in balance, you're also enforcing it in a way that's very specific to our natural ability to move in a specific direction. I know people don't know that.
Right. I think the reason why I delved into Pilates is because there was a wave, I guess, in the 2000 or so year where Pilates was, okay, the up-and-coming modality. And I thought, okay, it's time to learn Pilates. And it became something that I loved passionately because it kind of commingles with the fact that I love dance, whether it's hula, jazz, any type of dance. And it just taught me just a lot about just great balance, great posture. And Pilates does that. So with MAT, it was just a great adjunct in which to help my client just be wholesome and overall fit. And so it's a wonderful modality. And there's a lot of modalities out there, but the combination of what I do has really, really helped a lot. And it's not the only thing I do. I can do regular strength training, in the gym. But, all of that really, really seems to benefit a lot of my clients. And to stay in the business for this long, gosh, it just takes a whole lot of skill, updating your skill set and your knowledge so that your clients will stick with you. And a lot of my clients, I'm so thankful, have stayed with me for 10 years or more.
Yeah.
And that's a great relationship, and it's very rewarding.
And they trust you. They know that what you're going to do is going to create the balance that they need for them to be able to play golf or for them to be able to go swimming without having the aches and pains be so severe. You know what's really interesting, too, with the Pilates is that Pilates was originally created by a man for men that came back from war who were in bed and that couldn't get out of bed. So they had to rehab them in their beds through the springs that were attached to their beds. And so this created the bed eventually, which is the Pilates reformer that we have now. And so it is a rehab. Not only does it help people elongate their muscles and get their range of motion going, but it's also a rehab tool as well, which falls in line with the MAT. So tell the audience a little bit about exactly what muscle activation technique really stands for and what it does and how it works in the body.
Yeah, so muscle activation technique, I believe it's been around for at least 30 some years, and it was developed and created by a wonderful guy named Greg Roscoff. And he, in turn, went to school in Fresno, I think back in the 80s, and he had to overcome a lot of injuries. Back then, they would ask him to stretch and stretch more and more, and he actually got worse. And then they were saying, please don't do squats, please don't do whatever exercise. And he was very young at the time, and he is still very young now. But back then, as an athlete, as a student, you don't want to have limitations at that age when you're in college. And so he began to just really delve into what exactly, will improve. And he could have gotten, I think he was diagnosed with some kind of vertebrae injury, I think a spinal injury. And so, therefore, he did a lot of research. He also has his background in exercise science as well. And so he developed muscle activation technique. And it's a very fine-tuned process. I'm not sure if there's a lot of people in Hawaii who've heard of it. Obviously, my clients, and those who have been around me when I travel back home to Honolulu, as well as when I was blessed with you to be at the Honolulu Club and I worked with you, talked to your staff, and then I also had clients, through some of the instructors there. But it seems to be growing rapidly, and I know that it started to really take off when we got coverage through maybe an NBA player, or maybe through somebody in professional golf, and then in football, and then in basketball, and then our creator and developer, Greg Roscoff, he was a consultant for the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz, I think. I'm not sure. I think, and then also the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
And it's in Colorado. It's Colorado based, so that's why I mentioned those teams. But he's able to just work on a lot of clients, and I think one of some clients with big names that maybe the audience might know is like Peyton Manning.
Oh.
Okay, and I believe he played for the Broncos.
Yeah.
And he was there. Greg was there to help enable him to really maybe further his career because if I remember correctly, he had some kind of spinal issue, probably a cervical spine issue. I'm not quite sure, but then that's where we kind of took off. And a lot of our MAT specialists also work with Olympic athletes as well. But as it started to grow, Biyanka, we just realized it's for everyone.
Yeah, anyone who has a human body.
Home, yeah, wanting to pick up your kid.
Right.
And you're bending your back all the time, or you're squatting to pick up their toys, or a senior citizen who maybe wants to play a sport, a little longer than what people think they should. It's for high-end athletes, yes, like I have just shared with you, but it's for everyone that wants to somehow remain in shape because the body will go and there'll be compensations. And to an extent, compensation is good, but overcompensation is bad. Anything like overeating, oversleeping, right?
Yeah.
Or anything under. And so MAT helps to bring that balance. And basically, if I could just share, without using too many scientific terms, because I do want the audience to know how wonderful and beneficial this is. It's a very specific non-medical process, and it has a narrow application to assessing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just really figuring out where is your pain.
Right.
And we're not pain specialists per se, but because we do our best to find the root of where the compensation, the imbalance, or the pain is, the byproduct of that, the benefit of that is less pain to no pain, or improvement in the contractile ability of muscles. And that's the greatest thing with MAT is that we assess, we find where it is, because you might be complaining of maybe some back pain, primarily on the left, which we would look at, but maybe it actually stemmed from the right side because the right side was doing all of the work since the left side was weakening. So it really helps to target that specific human motor control or that lack of efficiency. It's a very unique process, that we could use with other training modules, just like how you were sharing with me being a MAT specialist with Pilates. But the greatest benefit is the fact that we want your muscles to contract, all of them to contract, not just several of them. If there's one thing I want you to come away with, or the audience to come away with, it's the fact that we improve the contractile ability of the muscles to increase the muscle's ability to tolerate force. Because maybe you might feel good and then you'll have an injury, you bounce back, but then if you hit a certain point, like a runner that runs maybe 10 miles and they went for 12 instead, and after 12 they started to feel a breakdown in the body, but then when he just goes at 10, he's okay. We help you to go past that 10-mile limit so that you can go further on. And so it really helps movement, range of motion, but it's not just having that range of motion, because a lot of people, if I could address tightness, everybody seems to think maybe tightness is the number one issue when it comes to a lot of concerns for the body, at least based on my experience. But tightness is just really secondary to muscle weakness, as I, share about muscle activation technique. And if there's a tightness, I guess a great way to explain that, as Greg, our founder, would explain it. Say, for example, you're walking on a bit of ice, and you're not sure if you're going to fall through. What do? You tighten up because you're protecting your body.
Right.
And so goes with the body. When it feels as if it's been violated through trauma, through an accident, through some kind of injury, it'll tighten up to say, I'm protecting you because you cannot do that movement. So I'm protecting you by tightening up. So it's kind of like walking on a bed of ice.
Right.
If I needed to kind of share.
Which is a good analogy.
With them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, so tightness, in a sense, is a way to communicate to us that I'm protecting you. Something's not right. It's like when you start a car and you see the check engine light on, that yellow light. You don't know what's wrong with the car, but you take it to a car mechanic. And so when that check engine light comes on in your body, which manifests in pain, you go and see an MAT specialist, a body mechanic, and that person will do checks and balances to see exactly where is the compensation, where is the problem, how can I make you feel better so that you can go back to playing golf, you can go back to football, you can go back to picking up your grandson off the floor, or whatever it is.
And
it helps to help the body move better.
And for those people who are trying to get into shape, you can't get into shape if your muscles are shut down because there's no muscle being activated. I mean, there's nothing that's working to get stronger or getting toned. You can't get toned if the if the lights or switches are off. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And another great analogy, Biyanka, is, yes, if you get hurt, somehow the body will compensate and still move because it's an amazing machine. But like a car, if you have 4 wheels on your car, and if one tire is deflated, the speed and the performance of the car is compromised because only 3 tires are moving the body of the car. And as an MAT specialist, if you compare the body somewhat to a car, if I can find that muscle, and I do, which muscle, so to speak, is the flat tire, and if I can activate it and therefore inflate it like you would a flat tire, then you'll have all the muscles working and improve your performance in work or play as you would do with a car. So that would be the best way also in which to illustrate how muscles should work. They all should be firing on. All of them should be fired up every time you want to pick up something from the ground or reach up through a cabinet.
Right.
That's the best way. That's the best way.
So if I was your client and I was, you put me on a massage table so people understand how before you do anything with your client, your assessment is on a massage table with them lying on their back, correct?
Yeah, I use a massage table. You could use an athletic table. You could use, a bed. But yes, I do have my massage table, which is convenient to travel. And I do home visits like I would in Hawaii. And so the way the treatment would start is obviously I would take, great amount of time taking notes of what they feel.
Right.
Because it's subjective, obviously, and it manifests itself in the body somehow as pain or tightness. And I would take some notes, and then I would compare range of motion, which would be the left side, and then compare it to the right side, because with your body, it should be pretty much symmetrical when it comes, and it brings balance when it is. But if I see, say, for example, if you're having rotation, issues, and maybe you could rotate your trunk to the left easily, but you can't rotate your trunk to the right, then that's a big red flag for me to think, okay, what muscles are weakened on the right that cannot make Biyanka turn to the right?
Right.
Or maybe there's some muscles on the left. And so as an MAT specialist, we are skilled in a sense where the muscles that rotate your trunk and spine to the right are a number of muscles. And we have this, pretty much practiced, as a skill set, so that we would be addressing all those muscles that would rotate the muscles to the right or counter rotate as well. So we have all of those muscles to work on. And so basically there's a testing that goes through it. And so I would get you in a most shortened position of how much you can, since we're using the example of the back, since you can't rotate to the right, I would have you hold that position for a minimum of really, really just short, like 2 seconds. And if you cannot hold that position for 2 seconds as I do a force to counter rotate you or to have you maybe hold as I push the opposite way, then that would in turn say there's a weakness there. And then I would treat it by palpating with my fingers the origin and insertion of a muscle to say, hey, wake up, contract on demand. And then how would I know if I actually did my job? I would retest you, get you in that same position, and see if you can hold for 2 seconds. And with the experience I've had, my clients, after retesting, they can hold. And so I would go through a set of muscles that are related to improving that trunk rotation. And so with the rest of the body, where it be the ankles, the knees,
the hips,
hip flexors,
yep.
Yes, the back, the shoulders, the neck,
the
just
glutes.
all those as MAT.
Yeah.
Everything you can think of. Yeah, every type of rotation. And it's great to, for someone to come up to me and say, wow, Mel, I have great range of motion on both sides. But if I were to test you and ask you to hold that range of motion, and if you can't hold it, that means there's instability. And
right.
Instability could therefore bring on a weakness, an injury, an imbalance to me. And I would recommend that you would treat it and strengthen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's in short, basically what a session would look like. And those who have been with me, session after session, I would have them maybe go on the exercise floor to reinforce what they did, because there is a threshold, like I talked to you about the marathon runner or that person who wants to run for 10 miles but actually went 12. And so with the exercise machine or whatever modality I use, we want to see if we can go further with what you love to do or what it is you want to accomplish, whether it be maybe some up-and-coming race or whatever it is,
right.
that activity you need to do it and keep doing. Yeah, I have a lot of seniors who have been very loyal as my clients because, we all want to do the anti-aging process. And
right.
for me, what better modality and adjunct than MAT?
It's not intrusive, that's why.
Are firing right.
Yeah. It's mild. It's not like massage.
It's not invasive, and it's, non-medical, and it's not a massage. And people will watch me with my clients, and they'll pass by at the gym and say, "Oh, Melanie, I didn't know you do massage." And I go, "No, I don't do massage. I'm doing a therapy, a treatment for my clients specifically to get them back to where they were.
They have their clothes on. It's not a massage. Trust me."
Yeah. And in fact, sometimes it's not even relaxing or comfortable because you're not just laying there on the table.
No.
I am putting you to work, too, by having you move after, during the assessment and as I test and retest you. So you're constantly either turning over because I want to see maybe your backside, which is to be prone, or to be face up, supine. So it's not a walk in the park. You will be working as I work with you as well to improve your body.
I mean, it's not easy for you too, either as a practitioner, because you're lifting up the leg. If they're heavy legs, you could have a big boy on your table. You have to lift up almost 100 pounds and twist it to the left, twist it to the right. You have to do like you said, the force, which isn't a very much force, but after a period of an hour of doing an assessment and treating, because you're constantly checking to see if that muscle shut off again. Because I know that you've done that with me where maybe my glutes were shut off, you turned it back on, and then you test me again. Oh, something that you did on the top turned it off again. So you have to do that again with me as far as turning back the muscles back on again. So it's a matter of creating that neural pathway, memory in that area so that the body does what it's supposed to and hold on to it and stick to it. but it isn't easy for the practitioner either. So it's definitely a treatment that's so clinical, and but yet it's such a beautiful concept that Greg created. I mean, it's just fantastic. And I want to get more into it, but I want to take a quick 15-second break, Mel. So when we get back, let's talk a little bit about some of your success stories with the MAT and the things that you did here, especially in Hawaii.
Of course.
Hold on.
Of course.
You don't need to be a member of a gym to get your health and fitness back on track. Be Fit for You with a Be Fit for Health online personal training and nutrition program. With 30 years of personal training experience, Biyanka will help you better yourself and be fit for health. For more information or to schedule a free wellness consultation, visit BeFit4Health.com for more.
Shameless plug-in for myself. I just wanted to let you guys know. No, it's business. It's business. It's business. It's so funny. Did you like my commercial, Mel? That was a quick 15-second little plug in there. Yeah. No, it's funny because I mean because of what you've taught me with me being your client and working with you with MAT, when you come to Hawaii, me grabbing you where I can because I know you're booked when you come to Hawaii. People want you. They know the benefits of this. I know personally with the few times that you're able to tackle my system, because, with the fibromyalgia that I have, the nerve, issues that I have, it's a challenge for any practitioner. You're able to at least bring some kind of balance for a while for me to be able to do something that's proactive without having any of my muscles shut down so quickly. But I wish you moved over here already so that I would see you once a week at least to keep me in balance. But I know that you have clients that you see on a regular basis here. Tell me a little bit about some of your success stories from, where they were before you started with them to what happened to them once they've been your client for at least, let's say, 6 months to a year. What are they like now?
Yes. I am looking forward to moving back. I'm hoping I get to move back maybe by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. Yay. I'm such an island girl. So Thank you for that. But when I do visit home and I do have my ongoing clients, and it's obviously word of mouth. It's word of mouth because that's the only way I've really found it successful to get the word out in terms of taking care of your body. But I do have one client. She's been with me for over 10 years, and her name is Julie. She's been featured, at the gym as well. She's lost about 89 pounds, and she was your typical mother taking care of toddlers, and she was a professional violist, and she would be sedentary and not do well. And so when she got into Pilates, and then she found out through MAT and me being her personal trainer, she was able to get her body in such a way in shape and fitness that her dream was to be a water skier and to go from a very obese set to, shaving 89 pounds off, which took a lot of work on her part. But she never questioned me, and we did it with MAT because when you go from being sedentary to being active, the body will go through changes of, oh my gosh, why are you waking me up? I didn't even know I have these muscles that work. And after all those years, she's kept it off, and she's at that point where she's on the water, and she's so graceful, and she can come away without injuries. And if she overexerts herself, yes, we go back to MAT. Let's figure out what muscles maybe were affected in pushing yourself beyond your threshold. And I address those issues on the table. Then we'll pretty much go on the exercise floor to reinforce. But she has been, great testimony of what MAT has done for her. And this is with her speaking. And then also I do have a very sweet 89-year-old woman who she has kyphosis, which is an overcurvature of the upper back, the thorax. And so it's just one of those ladies who you would see like at the supermarket, hunched over, and structure dictates function. And so if she's hunched over like that, can you imagine all those muscles in her back that are overstretched? And then in the front of her body, all of those muscles that stay shortened and contracted. And her structure is pretty much set, but MAT will help to just bring relief so that she can have a little bit more range of motion and sustainability with her movement, even though her structure is fixed with that kyphosis. And so she's been with me for over 10 years, and so she sees me about once or twice a week. So I've really helped her. And then I have this sweet girl. She, I think she goes to Mid-Pac or Punahou, and she's a dancer. She's lively. She's on the dance team, and she does have maybe some hip issues. Maybe it's because she uses that leg more than one leg more than the other when it comes to kicking or whatever it is her dance demands her to do. But I see her regularly. I see her pretty much on every trip. So she's in her teens. So I say that to say from these three clients that I see seasonally or regularly, they can range from a teenager all the way up to, well, my oldest client is 95. So I treat clients, anywhere from that age of a teenager to the 90s and everywhere in between. And it's just great to just help people like that. And I can't wait to help the island people because I'm an island girl, whether I've been in California for 26 years. I am so proud to say I am from Hawaii.
Yeah, no kidding, man. That's awesome. We're unique, I'll tell you. No, it's a treat for people to meet people from Hawaii because the aloha spirit, we carry it wherever we go, and they feel that from us, and it makes them look at you differently because the way that you care for your people is different. You have that. We're all family environment. We grew up here this way, so everyone's family. Cousin, brother, auntie, uncle. Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing. Yeah. And I know that you are, and you've carried that through the whole time that I've known you in California. I lived there for about 7 years, and you and I worked together for that long, and we've really gotten to know the California spirit there, too, is fantastic, but nothing like Hawaii. For sure.
No, nothing like Hawaii, so I'm really grateful to bring my skills back home. I'm going to be home this Tuesday to come for a week. Well, actually 10 days. And it's mainly to just spend time with my mom, hang out with her.
Nice.
And then I will have probably maybe 2 or 3 more trips through this year, seeing clients and just enjoying the beauty of Hawaii again, and then the food.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Very excited with that.
You have to get that in. I was going to ask you, how is it like with COVID? I mean, did that put a stomp in your business? Did you have to make any changes?
Yes. All the gyms and the one that you were linked with me called the Bay Club, everything because of the California governor, and not just California. When it hit us, I want to say, almost a year ago, because it happened in March, I believe, when we had the mandatory shutdown. And so, and it wasn't obviously because of my lack of skills. It's because of just the fear of COVID. And so it shut down things completely. And so we had to adhere to the rules of COVID. And then after that, I needed to branch out. And my wonderful colleague in Europe, in Brighton, England, he was able to do MAT online, and he's so successful with it.
Really?
And I'm scratching my head like, his name is Ryan. Ryan, how do you do that? But he's just so skilled with his hands, with being an entrepreneur, his love for people, that he can do this. And he's always publishing his accomplishments and his testimonies through Instagram. And so I am slowly going about it with MAT and with my training online as well. So it's slowly building again, and the clubs in California are opening up again. And in Hawaii, hopefully they're like us, where we just took the gym from the indoors to the outside, and we brought all the exercise equipment out into the tennis courts, and then we put a nice, roof over it. And the CrossFit people are bringing out, their equipment out too, with their ropes and, their med balls and their CrossFit sleds and everything. So, the weather's great here in which to do that. So the fitness industry is still alive. It was struggling in the beginning, but it's still alive, and it's still alive with me too. I'm so grateful that.
Are the gyms open now, though? I mean, did Newsom finally open it up yet, or is it still closed? Because that's what I'm hearing through other channels.
It's very limited, in terms of membership. A certain number can come in. Yeah. And then when that certain number leaves, then other people. So it would be pretty much on a timely basis to have that order of people to come in and to leave. Same rules apply for retail. So many people can go into retail, then when they leave, and other customers can come in. So that's how the fitness industry is trying to somehow gain back momentum, because like Hawaii, like Colorado, and every health-conscious city, we're taking things outdoors, weather permitting. And for the most part, California, has great moments where we can just be outdoors. Nothing like Hawaii, but I am, very biased to Hawaii. But we're able to take everything outdoors, and I'm really thankful that I have an athletic table or a massage table in which to do my MAT, and I can use my bands and other exercise equipment to help to suffice and make that session complete. So it's been good. It's been good. So it's one of those things where you just got to be creative. You can't just wait for business to fall in your lap. You just got to be creative, So it's been good.
And your clients are understanding, especially the ones that have been with you for so long. They totally get it, which makes a big difference. I can't wait till you get back here, man, because I'm telling you right now, I've got my support system started here, and I'm feeling much better. I have my moments, but you would complete my team of support for my body. I mean, I think because I do the electroecoscope, the energy medicine frequency gadget with Kelly, and then I also do the Hoffa manual therapy with my German friend Martin, who does the 3-finger manipulation, which is great. Works with the fascia and connective tissue mostly. Yes. And then if having someone like you here would be perfect. I mean, because I know a lot of people deal with restrictive movements. They deal with pain coming from, tight muscles that have gotten their muscles weak. Because tight muscles can turn into weak muscles, because especially if there's no, blood flow into that area to feed the muscle, eventually that muscle will get, deteriorate into something much more chronic where it's harder to fix.
You know what? Or also, too, just the connection from the muscle to the brain and the brain to the muscle, say, to contract on demand, may not be there. And so as a MAT specialist, it would be my job to help bridge that connection so that all muscles are firing actively. So
it's a language that you don't want to lose, between the brain and the nervous system, because once that language starts to get disconnected, especially to particular movements or muscle groups, that's where you're going to have a bit more of a challenge as a practitioner for MAT to get that communication going again, because you're really trying to get those neural pathways to be fluid. And it's really hard to do that when it's been disconnected for such a long time.
Yes, and, the sad thing is people tend to mismanage or not manage or just give up altogether, and they'll continue to walk, with a limp. Yes. Or maybe accept the fact that my arm can only go this much, so I'm going to stop canoeing or paddling, and they're just great alternatives out there. And I'm so thankful that with MAT, and I do have a paddler too. She paddles in Hawaii, and so she's my client too. So with anybody listening out there, just don't give in if you can. to get treatment so that you can live that quality of life that you want to keep and remain. Because life is short, and why live, with that restriction if there are cures out there, and things like MAT, they truly do improve and work. I've spent so much studying on it.
Yeah, you have.
Investment in it as a student, and I'll continue to be a student because I just love being in the fitness industry and how it affects people in such a great and positive way. I just love it.
I mean, you've been doing this for 40 years. I mean, if you don't love it now, seriously, you don't stay in an industry or some kind of a job for that long if you're not passionate about it. It's crazy. You either do or you don't. And a lot of times with trainers, I would ask them, like, why are you a trainer? Like, what's your point? Why did you get involved in this business? Because you have to have a love for it, and you have to have a love for people, and you have to have a love and curiosity for the human body. It's imperative that we constantly stay educated, just like the medical world. We have to constantly learn about what's new with the discoveries of how we may have missed the boat on the brain gut connection, or how that may affect the person's personality or disposition and their attitudes towards their body and their life. It's all, we're even some pseudo psychologists in to some degree, because we have to understand the people.
Yes, because they come to us, they start off with, this is what I want to see physically change. But many times they come to us, broken emotionally.
Yeah.
Right? And so when it comes to somewhat being that psychologist, personal trainer, then that kicks in. And what's nice is when you have that rapport, that they trust you that much, all the more you want to help to improve them in the skill set that you have, And so with me, it's the Pilates, the MAT, the personal training aspect. So it's all good.
It's not a luxury anymore. I think people don't realize that. It's now a necessity to be able to move. I mean, you have to physically exercise so that your body doesn't start withering away. Movement is key and crucial to optimal health. And with the COVID thing going around, the doctors and even CDC is saying exercise is crucial for your immune system. And it is because you don't keep things stagnant. Things start flowing and moving. So the bad stuff goes out, the good stuff comes back in. You keep constantly feeding the muscles with good blood flow. You're keeping your heart in check. You're keeping your lungs healthy because you're bringing in fresh oxygen and getting rid of the bad air out. So it's crucial. And what you're doing, what I've been doing for as long as we have been, is not just for us to make a living. It's also to help people get to a place of optimal health. And that's where it's so imperative. And that's where I want to drive it in. So I wanted to say, we're coming towards the end of the show. Like I hate this part because we have such great conversations on these shows and it always ends so quickly for me. But can you teach what you do to other trainers here? If you were to make Hawaii your home, and are you equipped to be able to do like the jump start, the basic fundamentals of MAT to personal trainers where they can get certified?
That's a great question. And I'm sure I'm going to have Greg, the developer and owner of MAT, listen to this broadcast. But I know that I tried to make it go, but because of just certain restrictions, it was hard to bring it or stretch out this to Hawaii because there are different specialists in the MAT, in the muscle activation technique field. And I say that by saying, as you bring up Jumpstart, there will be people there who are saying, what is Jumpstart? So, so there's maybe four of them. So quickly, I just want to say that the MAT Jumpstart specialist is one who'll take maybe positions. It's called positional isometrics and range of motion, screening. So that's what they do. It's like the beginning of MAT. And then the next one would be the MAT internship specialist, which is what I do. And we do specific range of motion screening and muscle testing and checks and balances. And then the third one, which I am slowly studying right now, which I will be someday soon, is a MAT master specialist, and that's specificity of my skill set so that I'm implementing both the Jumpstart segment and the internship skills and refining it to help my client. And then the very last is the MAT RX specialist. That's almost like the PhD specialist, in our field. And this is where they even have more specific testing and patterns in which to help their clients raise the tolerance level of muscles, through the whole body. So to answer your question, I want to say that maybe there might be an open door if there were maybe enough personal trainers that want to do it.
Right.
And I, in turn, would be able to teach it, because I know that I could at least based on the past, as long as I took the Jumpstart courses and did a refresher and I'm in good standing, with my skill set and with my CEUs, my continuing education units, that I would be able to do so. But then again, it's all up to the Denver office, which is our headquarters in Colorado. So right now there's, some restrictions, and if we can overcome those restrictions, would be great.
I would think it would be fantastic to give that another tool to the trainers.
Community.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Hawaii truly needs it, particularly because for the most part, our summers are pretty much year-round. And so we want to be outdoors pretty much year-round. So that would be just a great dream to realize someday. And who knows? I know that Greg, the owner, has a timeshare in Maui. He goes to Maui, I think, in the fall. And,
maybe we can work. Maybe we can work something out with him, huh?
Yeah, we'll see, because he's a humble guy. He knows a lot, and yet he's very reachable. In terms of if I needed to reach out, But so far, I haven't been able to overcome that. But who knows? I'm optimistic. Who knows if maybe it'll open up in the future.
I think we'll make it happen. I think we'll make it happen.
That would be great.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to that.
Because you being a foghorn and me, right behind you with my megaphone.
I love it. I know. Me too. I would do a refresher. I did it a long time ago, so I would definitely want to redo it and learn it properly and execute it properly. So, hey, listen, we're 1 minute down. Give people a way to reach you if they want to set up a time, since you're coming into town so frequently. How can people get a hold of you?
Yes, hi, people of Hawaii. You could reach me. My work cell number is 310-849-2302. And if you mention Biyanka, you get a 10% discount with that.
Fantastic.
Hey, and then my email address is my initial M, my last name Guyton, MGUYTON17
And I'll put this on my YouTube too, Mel. If people are going to re-listen to this, and I put it on my Facebook as well, I'll put all that information on there so people can go on there and they can look at it and have a second look to your information.
Oh, and then also, if I could mention that you're on my video on YouTube, and the people of Hawaii can look it up. It's called MAT with a Touch of Aloha, which was made, 5 years ago or so. Yeah. But then it would, explain MAT, quite quickly to you. And there's a lot of our main website, and I'm on it too for California. But on our main website, it's called muscleactivation.com. And it'll list what we do and how we help the person who needs MAT, as well as, where you could get an MAT specialist, whether it be Hawaii or Europe or Spain. Yeah, so it's not just U.S. We're worldwide now. So it's muscleactivation.com that you can look up.
All right, girl.
It's been great. It's been great. And, I can't wait to be home in a couple of days. But, girl, it's been fun,
I had a great time with you, Mel. I'm sorry to cut you short, but the music's playing. That's my cue to say goodbye to everybody and to you. Love you lots, and I can't wait to see you when you get here. And thank you so much for coming on to this show. I wish you all the best, hon. Love you.
Okay, mahalo. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. This was a great show, as you know. I wish you guys all the best. Have a great rest of your day. It is a beautiful day. Go out there and enjoy the sunshine. Take care of yourselves and each other. Aloha.